What's going on, YouTube, Facebook? We're out here today, a couple hours later than what we said we would yesterday, but we had to make the adjustment. We did put the notification out on our events feed for both of the platforms, so hopefully you guys were able to get those notifications. But today we're here. We're going to talk to you guys about the military and why we joined, because as you guys know, Alex and I both been in the military for quite some time.
I'm a dinosaur. I'm getting ready to retire in like 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, well, 19 and a half years, 19 years of some change.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I just hit 16 years last month. It's a long time, man. It's a long time to be in the military.
Yeah. It's crazy. I joined when I was 17. Now I'm 37.
Yeah.
Like, it goes by quick.
Yeah, I joined when I was 17 also. I was a wee little lad. Yeah. But yeah, so if you guys don't know who we are, my name's Philip. It's on the screen. You guys are going to be able to see that there.
I'm Alex.
Co-star Alex. It's looking great as always.
Hey.
Yeah, adulting shouldn't suck. We tell you guys about all the grown-up stuff that you guys need to know, so you guys don't have to have a horrible grown-up life. Hopefully,
not make the same mistakes that everybody else makes.
Yeah,
or a lot of people make. We made a lot of them.
Us make mistakes? No, we've made none. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, we're going to talk about today how the military's made our lives better. And we're just going to kind of have some conversations back and forth about our experiences and what we would do and all that type of stuff. It's pretty much first off, why'd you join the military, Alex? What was your big reason?
My big reason, honestly, was I just wanted to have some adventure in my life. Grew up, my dad was in the Navy, and I always heard about all of his stories from when he was serving. And the last thing I wanted to do was grow up, have a family of my own, and then not have anything cool to tell my kids. Oh, Dad, what did you do at work today? Oh, I went to work and sat at the desk.
Yeah.
I want to at least be able to have cool stuff that I told them that I did throughout my life and have my own adventures and have my own sense of pride and purpose and satisfaction knowing that I did something cool throughout my life. And that was a big part of why I joined. I mean, yeah, patriotism too. Like, I love my country and all that good stuff, but I really just wanted to do something that I could be proud of.
That's good. See, my reason for joining, exact opposite, 100%. Like, when I was a kid, never once did I think I was going to be in the military. I was like, I'm going to be an athlete. I'm going to go do great things. And I was pretty athletic. I had some good athletic skills, but I just didn't have the discipline. And I was about to have a kid. So when the recruiter came into my classroom and was like, join the military and you'll get health insurance and all this and that type of stuff, it was all super appealing to me because I grew up on state assistance, grew up on welfare, Section 8 housing, all that type of stuff. And I didn't want that for my kids. So they, provided this opportunity for me to be able to join and not grow up on state assistance. So I took it and I went in there and I was good at it. So here I am still years later.
Well, yeah, another weird part of why I chose to go in the military too, is that my dad, I grew up in a Mormon family. All right. First off. So my dad, I had two other brothers and I grew up with my dad telling me, all of us, if you want to be a man, there's two ways to become a man. It's either go on a mission or join the military. And my older brothers went on a mission and I was like, yeah, not my thing. I guess I'm going to go out in the military. And so that was another part of why I went in the military. But it's funny too, like the reason that both of us went in very different, but somehow we both ended up driving tanks, not in the same unit, but we drove tanks together. Or not together, but we were tank drivers and loaders and gunners and all that stuff. So and then we ended up going to the same part of Iraq, just a year different. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff for sure. Small world, really. Small world. Yeah.
So, but everybody joins for different reasons. I mean, that's like one of the biggest questions we got asked as a recruiter is like, hey, why did you join? Right? Because everybody's trying to figure out if the military, not everybody, but a lot of people that are thinking about it, they're trying to figure out, is this something that's right for me? And only you can answer that. And, everybody has different reasons of why they want to join, whether they're similar in nature, but, like getting off state assistance based on how you grew up, and not ever wanting that for yourself or for your kids again. The military's done great, man. You've been a fantastic dad to your kids.
Yeah. Literally, before that military recruiter came into my classroom, I didn't have 1 ounce thought of joining the military. But then he came in and he gave his pitch, and I was like the only kid in the classroom that like raised my hand. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then 3 days later, I was in the military. My mom wasn't about it. So joining at 17, you had to have parental consent, right? And one of the things that you have to do is your parents have to sign a form. And yeah, they were like, my mom was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, check it out, Mom. Like, I'm going to do this at 18, or I'm going to do it right now. So help me out and just sign this paper. Yo, what's up, Strato? And yes, it does look like you're the only one here for now. How you doing? Hopefully you're working really hard. Yeah.
So the next thing we want to cover was like, what have we accomplished? If you want to go first on that one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what have we accomplished? I mean, really, it's a lot potentially. So it kind of all depends on you, excuse me, on what we've accomplished here. So like coming to the military, came from a family that didn't have anything at all. So bought a house, right? Bought some cars, been on some vacations, been able to provide for the children, and not have to ever be on sort of state assistance. I've been able to help my mom and my sisters and everybody kind of live and get through their life. So that's a lot of accomplishments for me. And it's been great.
It's all a big deal, man.
So I'm super sorry. School's calling. My kid's at school, so I'm going to have to step off here for half a second and take this. 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
So something that, and to play off what Kano said, or what Philip said, I always call him Kano. Anyways, so to play off what Philip was just talking about, being able to provide for your family is a huge deal. And that's something that I think is a big accomplishment as well. Is for a while, we were a single income family. I'm married, I got 2 kids, and that's not something that a lot of people can do in today's society, right? Is have enough income to provide to where, your spouse can stay at home if they need to, or work on starting up a new business or whatever it is. So that's a big deal. I used the military to pay for my college. I was the first one in my family to get my bachelor's, which was cool, but I don't even use it. That's a whole nother story, but quality of life overall, like, yeah, I've got lots of awards and I've done all kinds of cool things throughout my career. But the thing that really means the most to me is my time that I served as a recruiter and the quality of life that I had as a recruiter, because it's pretty rare when you can make good money, but still have tons of time to spend with your family and work on your goals and your health and fitness and have tons of vacation. And that's a pretty rare niche within the military. And so Philip and I were really good at our jobs. And I think that's honestly like my favorite thing that we accomplished together, was just being awesome recruiters and maximizing the amount of time that we didn't have to work, but being so good that we had a great system that made it so we had a great lifestyle, if that makes sense. So like that to me is like one of my best accomplishments, is just being well-rounded, because so many people work insane amounts of hours and to make a lot of money, and then you never spend any time with your family or your spouse or whoever, or you're working so much that your health and fitness goes in the gutter because you're not taking care of yourself or whatever. So I think being well-rounded and being successful and making good money and having time to spend with your friends and family and take care of yourself is way harder than just being ultra successful in one area. Philip, you and I have talked about that. I look at that as like, if you're ultra successful in one area, and I've met lots of people like this in life, right? Whether they're like an amazing athlete, or they're doing really, really well financially, or they're rich, or whatever it is, right? Or they live in the gym and they're a beast. They're like a tree with one really big branch, right? But it's an ugly branch. It doesn't have any leaves or anything on it, but it's like a really, it's a tree with one branch coming off it, and it looks lopsided. And that's those people that are so focused on that one area of life that everything else just crumbles around them. Whereas when you're well-rounded, you're like this big, beautiful tree that has all these branches on it and leaves, and it blossoms in the, in the fall or in the spring or whatever. And to me, I'd rather be well-rounded and be a big, beautiful tree than this tree with this big, massive branch that's ultra, strong and aggressive. And ultimately ugly because everything else isn't balanced and in line with it. So to me, long story short, that's what I think is my biggest accomplishment, is just being well-rounded.
Yeah. I don't know, because I had to step out for a second, but if one of the things hopefully you mentioned about us being recruiters, right, was the fact that we were successful, right, which is hard to be successful when you're a recruiter because, as
Yes,
a lot of you guys probably know, recruiters come with like a negative stigma, right? They're like, oh, they're car salesmen or they suck, they're sleazy. They'll say anything to get you to sign a contract. And one thing that we prided ourselves on as recruiters is we didn't do that. We didn't need to. And I think that's what contributed to our success was the fact that we were very transparent. And
we told you everything, whether it's good or bad.
We were like, yeah, check it out. They were like, okay, well, what's bad about the military? And we'd list off a million different things. And we'd be like, look, every time that you would want to do something fun, the military is going to have you do something else that's not fun. And you're not going to be allowed to go and do that thing.
Or if it sounds fun, they're going to make it stupid.
Yeah. It's that give and take thing. You know, if you don't have necessarily the direction, or if you're looking for a particular quality that you lack, then the military can be a great place for you to develop those skills. And that's something that Alex and I were able to hone in on and develop and use to even help us on the platform that we're on today with you guys. We did a lot of stuff that started as recruiters that we get to use and carry on today. So even recruiters that we worked with and we would train, one of the things that we would always tell them is that, you know, the hours might be ridiculous and the job might suck because it's very taxing. It requires a lot out of you, a lot of long hours, a lot of stepping out of your comfort zone. But if you can use those skills to just develop yourself and to get yourself that whole complete person, then it can really be beneficial, but you have to be intentional with it. So yeah, that's my spill on that. And then, another question we got down on here is, would we do it again? Would we join the military again? If we could go back, you know, our 16 years, 19 and a half years for you, Alex, would you do it again?
I would. And we've talked about this before too. Like, I would not be the person I am had I not joined, you know, and it hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows. There's been plenty of times while serving the military that it sucks. And there's a reason why the military, every branch has a saying that we all go by, which is, you know, embrace the suck, because ultimately that's what makes you a stronger person, is getting through the suck together. And that camaraderie that you get from going through the suck with other people, which is why Philip and I are such good friends. It's because recruiting sucked most of the time. But like, when you go through that with other people, it's not the same thing as when you embrace the suck at a regular job, right? When you're embracing the suck in the military, that's how you forge those friendships, those bonds that, you know, hopefully last a lifetime, right? So, no, I wouldn't do it any different. But if I had to choose a different life, right? If I could go back and redo it, I would have been a pro wrestler.
Yeah. He's always watching those. So as we were saying yesterday, right, we're the dynamic trio that operates our YouTube stuff, right? So we all have the login and we all get into the YouTube app and we respond to the comments as we need and et cetera, et cetera. But you can see your history of the videos that you watch. And it's always like these 90s, early 2000s WWE SmackDown. And
man,
like messaging Alex like, oh yeah, you know, just
it'll send me like screenshots. It's like you watching Stone Cold Steve Austin again.
Yeah.
D-Generation X.
Oh yeah, brother.
Yeah, but, I'm a total nerd.
Yeah, so if you guys are watching from whatever platform, please let us know where you guys are watching from in the comments. Let us know how your guys' day is going, because we can see a viewer count, but we can't see which platform you guys are from. So, you know, make sure you guys say hi. Let us know how your guys' day is going, et cetera, and whatnot. We are going to have to cut it a little bit shorter because I do have to go get my kid. That was the school I was calling, like I was saying. He's sick at school, so I'm going to have to go and get him. But my oldest kid, he's at home currently sick. So I knew it was coming, but the little one was feeling good this morning. He was like, yeah, I'm taking over the world, Dad. And then it didn't last very long. So, yeah. But, yeah, so would I do the military over again?
Yeah, as you say, you got to answer that.
Yeah, I would 100% do the military over again. I gained a lot out of it. I grew up fatherless. You know, didn't have a daddy. Oh, teardrop. It's really not that big of a deal, but the Army was able to provide a lot of Army dads for me, which is what I call them. And I still have Army dads. And I my old first sergeant, call him Dad all the time. And I'm like, hey, Dad, what are you doing? And when I get bored, I pester him. He's retired now. He's not in the military. He retired last year. But I pester him all the time. And I'm like, Dad. He always tells me, if you were my kid, I'd drown you. And it's a funny, accurate joke. I'm kind of like a child, but it's fine.
He was a good dude. He was a mentor for both of us.
Yeah, but a lot of great people that I've met in the military. A lot of them I still encounter and work with today. Like Alex, for example, would never met him if it wasn't for the military. Would have never moved over here. X, Y, and Z. So I would 100% do it again. Absolutely. I would do things a little bit differently. You know, I wouldn't. I mean, just a little bit differently. Like,
you mean you wouldn't have stolen a tank with me?
we borrowed it. Okay.
Whatever.
We put it back, literally right back where we got it from. Literally.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the last thing that we're going to kind of chat about, the benefits that we've used while we were in the military. And I think this is a good reason for joining if you're ever trying to join and you don't have the ability to do some of the things we're going to talk about. The benefits that do come with serving are great. And Alex is going to get started with it.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I used the GI Bill to pay for going to college, which was great. Right? I had a lot of fun. Didn't pay for it. College is what, like on average, $100,000 now between the cost of tuition and the cost of living. So to not have to fork that out and have a bunch of student loans, pretty big deal. I would have to say the biggest one, though, that I have used, it's really been a benefit to my life, was the VA home loan, right? Especially because most people don't have, between 5 to 20% to put down on a house. So it's cost prohibitive, especially right now.
Yeah.
So it got me into a house that I probably wouldn't have been able to save up for initially back in my 20s. And just because life was expensive, I wasn't able to save up that much money. And so the VA home loan, if you don't know, you don't put any money down and then you qualify for the best interest rate at that time, regardless of whatever your credit score is. So it's a pretty big benefit. And I've used it multiple times ever since then. So that's my favorite benefit that I've used because it directly has benefited me and my family. So that's been a really big one.
I mean, the VA home loan's great. It's pretty much like rent, right? So you find a house, you qualify for it, and you can qualify with a low credit score, like all the way down to 620, depending on the lender, and you just sign the paperwork. And then as long as your closing costs are covered by like the seller, then you just literally go into the property and you just pay your first mortgage, 30, 45 days after, however you set it up. And that's it. And dark shots, it says on paper that we stole a tank.
I mean, we got the Article 15 for it,
which is military, right? That's what an Article 15 is. But yeah, we borrowed it, and it was not even our fault. We did the right thing. We prepared for it like we were supposed to. It was a recruiting event, and Alex and I were both tankers. So one of the events that we wanted to do was a tank event.
I could drive it with my eyes closed.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Even if you run into something, you're going to win because you're in a tank, right?
Dude, except for I ran to another tank when I was in Iraq. I went to Iraq back in 0405. I'm a dinosaur, like I said. But I backed into another tank, and it was the first time I hit something, and I was like, whoa, what did I just hit? And the tank commander was like, you hit a tank, dummy. That's not the word he said, but I was like,
he used probably a different word that was a little more.
I'm like, well, dude, I don't have a backup camera down here. I'm in a hole. Like, where are you at?
Yeah, like help me out, bro.
Like I've ran over cars and concrete barriers and stuff, and I didn't even know I hit them. Right, and that's not here in America, but and there's nobody in the cars, by the way. So, anyways, the first time I hit something that I knew was there was another tank.
Yeah, I've never hit another tank. I have drifted tanks. Actually, we're actually in there for one of those.
Aggressive.
But so one of the benefits, right, that I'm going to use that Alex didn't use, but we've been talking about, was driving a tank. So like I had said, we've both driven tanks, and that's not going to be something that you can do as a civilian unless you have a lot of money, somebody cool, or you join the military. So being able to drive a tank that is, battle ready, combat ready is pretty effing cool. And we've done it a lot. So that's a benefit, an unspoken benefit. But additionally, I've used the VA loan, bought my first house when I was a wee little lad at 20. And I used the VA loan because everybody else was doing it. And they were like, I'm going to buy a house for my family when I get back. And I was like, that's a great idea. How do you do that? And luckily enough, they were able to show me and help me get through that process. And we did it. And then bought another house and another one. And here we are.
I have to say, I didn't really plan on talking about this, but I don't know how old you guys are that are watching right now, but health insurance is a pretty big deal, whether it's just for yourself or one day if you get married and have kids, whatever. Like when we were active duty, you don't pay anything for it, and you have complete healthcare coverage, right? I didn't pay a dime for. I had like knee surgery and whatever else. Like I haven't paid anything out of pocket for years. And then when I was traditional National Guard, 1 weekend a month, it was like $200 my whole family, which is stupid cheap, right? And your out-of-pocket coverage is like next to nothing when you go see them. So most people are paying insane amounts of money for insurance. And if you're like 18, 19, 20, you're like, oh yeah, whatever, big deal. I'm immortal. Like it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get injured. But as you get older, you're like, yeah, no, that's a huge benefit, especially if you have a family.
Yeah.
I almost recruited the guy one time. I talked him out of actually joining. He was like 30 and he was a chiropractor. And he had his own chiropractic service, and he was making like, I think $200,000 a year or something like that. And he was going to come in as an officer just for health insurance. Cause for him and his family, I think he had 3 kids. He was paying almost $2,000 a month. And so he was like, yeah, I just want to join for insurance. I'm like, no, man, no, that's not the right reason. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But like, it's just crazy how many places charge insane amounts for health insurance. So like, to me, that's another big benefit that's been really good for me and my family.
Yeah. It's been really great also for me. The health insurance has been awesome. My kid just broke his collarbone, just took him to the emergency room, and I was like, fix him. And it's been great. But we do have to wrap it up. It's been 22 minutes. I think this is probably a long enough episode for you guys. We do just love chatting with you guys and letting you guys see what we are like, not on our YouTube videos, like the long content that you guys get to watch, which also we dropped a video today. The renter's insurance one is a great video. Make sure you guys get on the channel and check it out. And we will see you guys tomorrow, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you guys set that notification on in your phone so you guys can come hang out with us and then bring us any questions or comments that you guys have. And that's it for me. That's it for you. You got anything else to add?
No, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, guys. See you guys tomorrow.